So Kingdom Hearts, a weird crossover between Square Enix and Disney. It's a game that is actually really near and dear to my heart. I love this series to death, despite its overall insanity and just the idea that it has existed for nearly 20 years without being just ruined outright by Disney's. A fate that Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite fell. God damn it. Anyway, yeah, the fact that the series has ran this long is insane, you know? But I love Kingdom Hearts, I really do. Like, the idea of Square Enix, a company known for its JRPGs, crossover with Disney, a company known for their Disney movies, and then smashing them together into one game, Kingdom Hearts 1, that would spawn its own franchise. It's maddeningly insane how that's even a thing to begin with. As a kid, I loved Final Fantasy. I liked Disney. I didn't love Disney, but I liked Disney. I mean, everybody had no choice but to watch Disney. Hell, you went to schools, they would have Disney on. You know, they would. You know, I remember when I was younger, when they used to have like movie times, right? When like you go to class, like, oh, kids, we're gonna put on a movie today, and then they'll just put in a movie. It'll just mostly be a Disney movie, right? And then, you know, you watch it, you know, that's pretty much how I saw most of my Disney stuff back in the day in school. But I knew about Final Fantasy beforehand. I was never good, but I did own at least a couple of Final Fantasy games at that point, right? And knowing that Disney and Square becoming a thing in the first place, I was like, that's no way that could even be possible. You know, if I was younger and didn't know about Kingdom Hearts, I would have thought that idea would be insane. Like they're two completely different spectrums, you know, like there's no way. It's like trying to mix something that just doesn't fit. And then like when you get Kingdom Hearts 1, the way that it's blended together fits. You know, when people think about Kingdom Hearts, they never, and I never heard anyone bring this up, they never talk about how the idea of seeing these Final Fantasy characters next to Disney characters, next to these original characters, seem off to them, you know? To me, it never seemed off, you know? Playing Kingdom Hearts 1, and then you see all these events happen. You see Hell Cloud near goddamn Hades, or you see Hercules. Like, it's like, it fits, you know? Like, you see this original villain, Ansem, Seeker of Darkness, and you're fighting alongside Donald and Goofy from freaking Disney, like, the most famous Disney characters ever. And there's Mickey, too. And yet, it doesn't seem outside the realm of possibility. You know, like it did. But seeing them together in one full game, it fits. And it's so crazy how it does. Like, there's no way it should have fit that easily. But yet, at the same time, it does. Even as a kid, I never thought the idea of the crossover was strange. You know, seeing Square and Disney being in one room in one full game with original characters on top of that is the weirdest idea ever. And like, you know, there's a bunch of wacky ideas for crossovers out there, but the thing is, they've never seen the light of day. This right here, Kingdom Hearts, became its own franchise, for Christ's sakes. It all instantly started out as a crossover between Square Enix, or mostly Disney, really. Mostly Final Fantasy and Disney, because there was no other Square characters back in the day. We wouldn't get any more Square characters until way later in the series, which is funny, because like, when you look at, you know, Kingdom Hearts, you're like, okay, it's just a crossover between Square and Disney, but at the time, it was mostly just Final Fantasy and Disney, because the only time you'll see Square characters were Final Fantasy characters. And the fact that this is even a thing to begin with, and the fact that it can branch out to other Square characters coming into the mix, I'm all here for. I'm all here for. Knowing that The World Ends With You finally gets into Kingdom Hearts, that's all you need to be in for. And I knew about The World Ends With You, but like I never played it before Kingdom Hearts, and funny way, that's a way that brought me into playing that game. It's like Smash, how you play Smash Brothers, and people, you know, they get excited for thinking about, man, what's the next character going to get into Smash, right? And Smash became its own thing. It became its own thing, even though it uses characters from various other franchises. It became its own thing. People think of Smash as its own series rather than just this weird crossover. You know, I mean, yeah, it's a weird crossover. That's the whole identity of Smash. But people treat Smash as its own thing, and that's why I like, and that's what Kingdom Hearts pretty much is. It's its own thing, despite it being a crossover. The one thing Kingdom Hearts does have a leg up over Smash is that it has original characters. Now, Smash does have original characters, but you can't really do anything with it. You can't play as them. I mean, unless you want to count Mii Fighters, which they don't count. You can only play as the original characters in the form of Mii Fighters, which, yeah. But Kingdom Hearts not only has a crossover between Square and Disney, but yeah, it also has its own original characters. It has Sora, it has Riku, Kairi, Terra, Aqua, Vin, Roxas, Axel, Shion, etc., etc. And the original characters make the series, really. For me, at least. Because I don't play Kingdom Hearts just for the Disney stuff. I didn't play it for the Final Fantasy stuff, even though that was pretty much how I got into it. I think the first time I've ever found out about Kingdom Hearts was through Chain of Memories. And that's because I played my Game Boy religiously. I played my Game Boy Advance religiously. And I see commercials about this new Kingdom Hearts game. And I think that was around when Kingdom Hearts 2 was coming out. And I didn't have a PS2 back then. I never had a PS2 at that point. So when I hear about this Kingdom Hearts game being for a handheld console, I was like, man, I gotta play this game. I gotta check this out. And honestly, Chain of Memories wasn't the best Kingdom Hearts game to come in, but the fact that it just got me into the series in the first place is something. I gave it that much. I would have never expected to start a game where I'm playing as this dude named Sora, this Japanese anime as hell dude, and then I see freaking Donald and Goofy walk in the frame. I'm like, what the hell? And then you see this dude in black cloak, Marluxia, pop in, and you're like, what the hell? And like, this is like some kind of fever dream. And then obviously you go through the worlds, you meet the Final Fantasy characters, you meet more Disney characters. Granted, they're just like, constructs of memory, recreated because it's a Chain of Memories. But it happened in the first place. I played it in the first place, so I can give it that much. Then I would go on to play all the other Kingdom Hearts games after that, and I never looked back because there's something about this series that just gets you. I don't know how to describe it, really. The series just gets you. People usually like to rag on Nomura about how he writes Kingdom Hearts, and everyone's like, man, his story is too convoluted, it's too complicated. Nomura's just making up shit as he goes. He doesn't have anything planned out. But one thing I will give the series merit for is that it's at least interesting. No matter what your opinions on Kingdom Hearts are, I personally believe that the series is incredibly interesting because a series like Kingdom Hearts builds itself up in a way that you never see what's coming, And, people want to rag on Nomura, for not, quote-unquote, planning the series out. But I believe that Nomura at least has ideas of what to do next. There's no way he just is winging all of this as he goes along. There's just no way. He's not the only person involved with Kingdom Hearts. There's other people involved with Kingdom Hearts. And if Nomura comes up with something, he at least tries to explain somewhat of it later down the line. And that's not the best way to tell a story, but at the same time, it keeps you invested, Kingdom Hearts is a series that will never get boring. It doesn't matter what new character Nomura introduces, it doesn't matter what new plotline Nomura introduces, it doesn't matter what new song Yoko comes up with, or Takahara Ishimoto, or Tsuyoshi Sekito, or whatever. Kingdom Hearts, as it goes, will never get boring for me. Even a game like Union Cross, which I don't think much of, has a lot of plot twists and stuff, and that's a goddamn mobile game. I don't like it as a mobile game, but the fact that there's a Kingdom Hearts mobile game to begin with is amazing. I mean, it's not here anymore because the game, is down now. A game like Melody of Memory. Nomura been wanting, you could definitely tell Nomura's been wanting to make a rhythm game for the longest time, and now he finally gets to do it. And the thing about this rhythm game is that it has lore. It's canonical, and it leads into the second phase of Kingdom Goddamn Hearts, which is still insane to me. Like, this rhythm game has lore, and it leads into the next game. Yeah, this sucks as this is Kairi's first game, and I hope it's not her only game, because goddamn, that would have sucked when she's not even the main protagonist of her own game. She's not really the playable character of her own game, which is actually a kick to the nuts, but, yeah. Like, the fact that the Kingdom Hearts just even is a thing to begin with, right? It's even a thing. Like, freaking Chain of Memories is a goddamn card game. It's a card game mixed with Kingdom Hearts 1's combat. And that sounds ridiculous on the offset, but it's a thing and it exists. And despite people's opinions on Chain of Memories as it is, the fact that this game is even, was made with the intention of making it like a card game and a strategy-based game, unless you want to use Lethal Frame or Sonic Blade, the fact that it's been built around this whole card system is still amazing to me. Some people may not like it, but I like it. Hell, freaking goddamn Kingdom Hearts Recoded was made because Nomura was drunk. And yeah, the story doesn't mean anything, but the fact that Nomura made it while he was drunk and still got the go-ahead to make it in the first place, dude, you cannot. Can I just talk about Nomura? This man cannot be stopped. Despite having Square and Disney breathing down his neck, he still gets to do whatever he wants. Some people making games, they have to follow crunch times, they have to follow a lot of bullshit, they have to deal with, release schedules being messed up, they have to deal with having themselves restricted because other people are coming into the mix, but Nomura nearly has free reign of what he wants to do, and the guy literally has anime and Disney on his side. The guy literally has the power of anime and Disney on his side and has not yet to be stopped. So I feel like that could be merit to something. Like, Nomura is a freaking madman, and I'm all here for it. Like, the guy has some actual Disney licenses under his control. Disney is strict as hell what they want to do, and the fact that Nomura gets to still do what he wants while also Disney being there. I don't know what kind of contract Square and Disney signed to get Kingdom Hearts to be a thing and still maintain itself after all these years. But Disney must have been super loose on that contract, because the fact that Nomura gets to create this wacky plot with these wacky characters and do whatever he wants with Disney, the fact that we can fight Disney characters to begin with, the fact that I can run up to Hades and beat the shit out of him with a giant key, you gotta be kidding me, this is awesome. I can beat the shit out of Hades from Hercules with a giant key from this anime dude. You can't tell me that's not sick as shit, dude. And on top of this, also the original boss characters, there's also original characters. It just keeps going and going and going and going. Kingdom Hearts 3 is insane. Kingdom Hearts 2 is insane. 1's insane. All these Kingdom Hearts games are insane, Like when I look at something from Kingdom Hearts out of context, like let me say this. Let me think of the Yozora boss fight, right? Or someone like Lingering Will, or a hard boss fight in Kingdom Hearts, right? I look at Yozora. I see Sora fighting him in this big city on top of the 104 building in Shibuya, which is not Shibuya. Well, it's 108 building. Was 104? Yeah, 104 building in Shibuya, which is not actually Shibuya. It's actually Shibuya is Quadratum, but let's just call it Shibuya. Sora gets to fight this dude who looks like Riku, but he's not Riku. He's Yozora, who is reminiscent of Noctis from Final Fantasy 15, who is voiced by Dylan Sprouse, who fights with a crossbow, a sword. He can send giant robots after your ass. He has a lot of health. He's the strongest dude in the game. He's seriously the strongest boss in the series. And you forget just for a moment that you're playing a Disney game. Like when you see like these sections, parts of when Nomura gets to do what he wants, at the end of the day, I always forget that I'm still playing a Disney game at the end of the day. Because there is no way Disney would ever be that cool with any of its properties. Kingdom Hearts is the coolest thing that ever happened to Disney in God knows how long. Like, Disney isn't cool. Disney isn't cool at all. Kingdom Hearts made Disney cool. Kingdom Hearts made me give a shit about Disney. And that's a fact right there. I don't give a shit about Disney, but Kingdom Hearts made me did it. And it's crazy. Like, you see someone like Lingering Will, you see someone like Lingering Will, this armored dude who can freaking turn his Keyblade into a whip. He can summon little light droid things. He can turn it into a goddamn bike and ram your ass. He can freaking lock your commands. And he's this badass armored dude with a cape. And then when you're fighting him at Sora in this, life or death showdown, Donald and Goofy are next to you. Donald and Goofy from goddamn Disney are right there. And yet they do not seem out of place, because even in Kingdom Hearts 1, when Sora beats Donald and Goofy for the first time, like, I think Kingdom Hearts is built in like this cartoony way that can fit well with Disney, right? Like, if Disney were to ever make their own anime or make their own anime-esque video game, I feel like Kingdom Hearts could fit really well, like at least the design of the characters. Like, it strikes this balance of being anime and cartoonish, and yet Final Fantasy. It's like this weird three-way fusion between anime, Disney and, you know, your standard Final Fantasy stuff mixed into one. You know, it's maddening the fact that, like, one thing I like about the Kingdom Hearts 2, like, well, one other thing I like about Kingdom Hearts, not Kingdom Hearts 2, is the character designs. And the more, I like the fact that the more changes their designs the majority of the time, because normally you get the characters that'll stick looking the same, but the more he likes designing characters. He was a character designer for Square, he still is. And the fact that these characters are still changing clothes and getting new appearances each time is amazing. Like, Sora from Kingdom Hearts 1 is different from Sora from Kingdom Hearts 2, and different. And the fact that they age too is another thing. Because, like, characters in these games don't really age all that often, depending on the character. Like, someone like Mario, he's never going to age. Someone like Sonic, he's never going to age. They change designs somewhat, but they don't get reference to outright aging ever, right? So you had someone like Sora who starts off Kingdom Hearts 1, and he grows up. He grows up to Kingdom Hearts 2. He grows up to Kingdom Hearts 3, and so on and so forth. Well, he grew up from Kingdom Hearts 2 to Triumph Distance, and then leads into 3, which is still weird. Again, the outfit changes and stuff like that. But the fact that Nomura even changes their outfits to begin with is actually something, you know? Rarely ever you get costume changes that stick with a character for a goddamn game and keeps going. Like, Kingdom Hearts 1 Sora, you're never going to see again. Unless Nomura decides to do something else. But Nomura does seem fond to use Kingdom Hearts 1 Sora, because you see him in Chain of Memories, you see him kind of like in Triumph Distance, even though his color scheme is different. It's still Kingdom Hearts 1 Sora at the end of the day. You see him in Recoded. Like, Nomura definitely seems fond of Kingdom Hearts 1. And Kingdom Hearts 1 Sora, at least. But the premise of Kingdom Hearts is just funny to me. You know, it's funny, but yet it's works so well. It works so well, and yet it's still its own thing at the end of the day. Like, it's Kingdom Hearts is not just Square Enix cross-shipping with Disney. No, it's Kingdom Hearts, you know? People have been invested with this series for years now. Whether it be for the characters, whether it be for the Final Fantasy aspects, whether it be for the Disney shit. Honestly, if you would ask me, I'm invested in more of the story and the original characters rather than just the Disney and stuff. And I think that comes to testament how well Nomura at least did some of these characters. Yeah, I know some of the characters Nomura had kind of done dirty, like Kairi so far, but, you know, I don't know what he's going to do with her in the future. But knowing Nomura, I'm never going to expect it. Kingdom Hearts gives me a sense of, man, I want to know what's happening next. And some series just don't do that. Some series don't go off the rails like Kingdom Hearts do and just give you the idea of, man, what's going to happen next, you know? It just doesn't do that. And Kingdom Hearts does that really well. Like, a good story has you wanting more, or just like, you know, or it gives you a good conclusion, right? Nomura just keeps going. He's insane. He just wants the series to keep going. Disney wants the series to keep going. Square, maybe. I don't know. But it's still going, and the more planting these seeds within the games and wanting me want more is a good thing, because I can't get over how well the Kingdom of the War actually did, like sets up Kingdom Hearts. Like, every time you get in the game, right? Kingdom Hearts 1, it leads off to Sora, you know, Sora Kairi getting separated. Then it leads to Chain of Memories. Oh shit, these new organization villains are coming in. Sora lost his memories and whatnot. Kingdom Hearts 2, it's planting seeds for Birth by Sleep. It's planting seeds for Sora's next adventure. It's going on to, you know, the secret ending even is a thing where you see these dudes in armor. And then, like, you see this old man, this dude in a black mask. And it leads to, 358, where he's talking about ARCSYS story, but it also plants more seeds for Birth by Sleep and introduces Shion. Then it goes to Birth by Sleep, and then it like tells the backstory of the the years before, the 10 years before Kingdom Hearts 1, will also add more things that will happen later down the line, more characters that we're going to have to, you know, save in the future because meet their tragic ends and shit. Then Recoded, despite not really meaning much in the grand scheme of things, is the fact that it exists in the first place is just something crazy. And then, you know, you got Dark Road, you got Dream of Distance, you got obviously Union Cross. You know, I don't know why I said Dark Road first. That comes before Union Cross. But yeah, it exists. Kingdom Hearts exists, and I'm all here for it. Nomura, people complain he's not the best story writer. Look, you may think that, but I think that Nomura is a goddamn genius for the way he sets up the series, for keeping people wanting to come back. And then the series rewards you for keeping close attention, for paying attention to these characters, and then still throws a curveball at you. If a series can constantly throw curveballs at me and I'll never expect them and still want to see how this all ends, yeah. No, I wasn't one of the freaking people that thought Kingdom Hearts 3 was going to be the end of it all. There's no way Kingdom Hearts 3 was going to be the end, because out of the way the series was functioning, there's no way the series was going to end at Kingdom Hearts 3. So, the fact that there's more seeds planted in Kingdom Hearts 3 that leads into the next phase of Kingdom Hearts, the fact that we see characters like Yazora become a thing and then shit like that, like it's awesome. Kingdom Hearts series is awesome. It's never boring, and I love it. You know, again, there are some things I wish Nomura would just do right. Like, hell, Kairi definitely needs to be done better than she is. I'm not going to make a whole Kairi rant video, because honestly, there are people who are fans of Kairi despite the way she's kind of treated in the series. I'm not going to get into that whole discussion, but I feel like whatever Nomura is going to do with these characters next, I'm never going to see it coming. You know, at the end of Kingdom Hearts 3, I was like, man, what's going to happen to Sora? There's no way it's going to end this easily. It was like, oh, he gets sent off to Shibuya, which is actually Quadratum, which is actually an alternate world, which is actually from this dude, which is actually the dude, this dude's name is Zoras, who's actually was in a video game trailer and the Toy Story. Like, no freaking way I would have ever guessed that. But, you know, the way the trailer looked was going to be important. But seeing that in Toy Story first and knowing that's a thing now, and that's who's going to lead to the next phase of Kingdom Hearts, I'm all for it, man. Love this damn series. I love this series. Nomura, he may not be the best kind of storyteller, but he's a good storyteller. I will admit that. If he, like, it's like a good story has you interested. It has you invested. There's some things that will go off the rails here or there. You know, Nomura isn't the most consistent best storyteller, but I think he's consistent at keeping me interested. There is no way Kingdom Hearts will ever get boring for me. There's no way, because of the way he sets it up and the way he just goes insane, and the way that these characters tie into each other, relationships, the whole heart, you know, the character becoming nobodies, heartless, new creatures, new heartless, you know, stuff like that. New worlds, new character designs, new plot points, you know, just new things that keep you invested. I feel like that takes a lot of effort to do. To keep someone invested for 20 years in a long ongoing story, and then shifting to the next phase and doing it all over again. Yeah, I feel like Nomura is a good storyteller on that front. I will say that. I mean, I'm never going to give him that much praise, but knowing how Nomura's kept me invested, and the series kept me invested as a whole, with different gameplay styles, different characters, different plot points, different ways of fighting, different worlds, Kingdom Hearts is always refreshing, and it never gets old, and I love it for that.